right, welcome back to my channel, and welcome if you're new here. I am going to be wrapping up May. I know I am so far behind. That's okay. We don't care. I have made peace with the fact that I will be doing YouTube on my own time this year, so here we go. Now in May, I participated in May the Force read with you. I ended up gaining the level of Sith Lord, which is kind of cool. I was aiming for Dark Lord of the Sith, but things happened, life got in the way, and we had to move on. I will be going over all of the books that I read, all of the prompts that I read for, but it has been a couple of months, and so I am going to do this to the best of my ability. To earn my species, I had to read a thriller because I am Zabrak. I always pick Zabrak as my species. I don't know why. I just feel like it is dark, I am dark, and it suits. So I read Listen for the Lie by Amy Tintera. Now, if you guys have seen my recent unhaul, you will know that I am getting rid of this book, but not because I didn't like it, but because it's a thriller. And whenever I purchase thrillers, I have in the back of my mind that I probably won't be keeping the book. So I might be shifting the way I purchase thrillers, or I might not be purchasing thrillers anymore. I might just be on the lookout for what thrillers I want, keeping a list and getting them from Libby, because I know in my heart of hearts, I won't keep the book. Now in Listen for the Lie, I do have my spreadsheet pulled up over here. So if you see me looking off to the side, my computer is over here. This is about a girl who is convinced that she killed her best friend. Everyone else is convinced that she killed her best friend. And nothing ever came of it though, because there was no proof. The evidence wasn't there to convict her, even though everyone thinks that she did it. And so this book goes through her going back home and facing what happened. There's a podcast element to this, which I recommend the audio for this specifically for the podcast element because it's done really, really well. And then she gets home, the podcaster's there, wants to go through everything with her, and the book kind of goes from there. I don't want to give any spoilers or anything like that. I ended up giving this a solid 4-star. I really, really enjoyed it. Now, I did mention in my vlog where I read this one that I have a tendency not to give thrillers or mysteries 5 stars unless they just take me by surprise. And if I can't see the twists coming, things like that, really hard to do with someone with ADHD because we have pattern recognition. But that's what it takes for me to give a mystery thriller 5 stars. So I loved this one, but it didn't surprise me, I guess is what I should say. I would highly recommend it, especially, like I said, the audiobook for the podcast elements. Then to earn my Porg, because I love Porgs. They are my favorite creatures within the Star Wars universe. If I remember, I will put a little gif of a Porg here so you guys can see what they are. I read The Unsinkable Greta James, and I, again, really, really enjoyed it. I have it up there in my shelves, so I'm just going to insert an image here. I am setting up for another video, which you guys can kind of see the books back here. But anyway, I wanted to have those available to me instead of, and I didn't want to make a mess. I'm having some ADHD today. Hello. So The Unsinkable Greta James. Really, really enjoyed this one. This is about a girl who her mother has passed away and she is semi-estranged from her father. Her brother convinces her that she needs to go on this cruise with her dad that him and her mom had planned for like a last hurrah. And then when she passes, he goes, but he goes with friends and she tags along after her brother begs her to go. She is a semi-famous musician. She has a breakdown on stage and everything like that, trying to deal with the fact that she wasn't there when her mom passed away. And this has some like dark humor moments. It has some very heartfelt moments, but I really enjoyed this for the fact that it's dealt with grief in a very real way. I like reading stuff that seems very true to what an experience you would have in real life would be, and basically realistic. So I really, really enjoyed this one. Highly recommend it. It is also one of the books that I discovered when I was looking for books like The Wedding People, and I do think it fits the bill for that as well. Very, very good. I gave it 4 stars. I want to preface this next block of books with the fact that I was trying to do a read or unhaul in my own way because there were so many books that I wanted to get through. There were books that were on my self-destructing books, things like that, just books that I really, really wanted to get through, and I ended up DNFing quite a bit in the month of May. The first of those being The Ivory Key. I did try reading this for TIE Fighter to earn my TIE Fighter, And I didn't like the fact that we never got really invested with the characters. There was not enough with any given character because there were 4 POVs and this book is not that long. And it didn't need the 4 POVs, not at all. So I had a hard time getting invested in the story, getting invested in the characters. I was just kind of like, this isn't going anywhere in my mind. So I ended up DNFing it. I didn't enjoy it. It is on my Pango shop if anybody is interested in it, but I just didn't care for it. So to earn my TIE Fighter, I picked up Earthlings. And I'm sorry, my dog is under the tripod yet again, so he might be bumping it. Earthlings, I have kept. It is on my horror shelf, and I really enjoyed this one. This is one that you need to check the trigger warnings before getting into it because, oh my goodness, so many dark things happen in this. But basically, we have a girl who is convinced she's an alien. Nothing about her life seems real to her, and she is convinced that she's from another planet. She's able to convince other people that, you know, this is a thing, and even go along with her insanity. This is how she separates herself from the abuse in her life. And so it's very hard hitting. There's a lot of dark content in this. There's a lot of trigger warnings in this. So if you are one of those people who needs that, I would definitely check them. But I ended up giving this book 4 stars. Again, really, really enjoyed it. I can't say that I liked it because the content is very, very difficult to read, but it was good. It was a well-written story. I enjoyed it for that fact. Then I tried to read a book for Drain Knowledge, which was a place of learning, either in the title or the synopsis. And I chose The Library of the Dead by T.L. Hucio, and I, again, DNF'd this one. This was more because everything was written in the vernacular, and I had a really hard time with it because it's not language that I understand. I kept having to pause to look things up, or things just didn't make sense to me. There were callbacks to things that I know nothing about. And so I was like, I don't understand. So I had to DNF it for that reason. I was very sad because this is one of my friend's favorite books, but I never have liked books written in the vernacular. I have an English degree. We did American literature. So much of that is written in the vernacular, and I didn't like it then. There's a series that's really popular whenever I was coming up, reading more urban fantasy that's written in the vernacular that I just couldn't stand. And it's just a thing with me and my particular taste that I don't like things written in the vernacular. So that was a DNF for that reason. And at this time, I was getting a little disheartened with the DNFs, and like, I was really wanting a 5-star read. So this didn't actually play into any prompt, but I read Enchantra. And I loved Phantasma, so I was very, very excited to get this on the TBR. But it was not a book that pertained to anything that was in May the Force Read With You Readathon. But I absolutely love the competitions, the dark romance, all that stuff that is in Phantasma and Enchantra. I liked the callbacks to Phantasma. This one, though, came in at a 4-star and not a 5, which Phantasma was a 5 or 4.5. I can't exactly remember what I rated it. I do know that it stuck with me, and I intended to go back and change my rating to a 5-star. I don't know if I did, but Enchantra I didn't like as much because it had repetition in the competition aspect of it. I did like that the competition aspect of the first book had a lot of variance to it, and this one is kind of just a survive the night. And it was okay. The romance was a little bit better in Enchantra, but I am a plot-driven reader for forever. It's not going to change. I can see why character-driven readers would like Enchantra better. I can see why plot-driven readers would like Phantasma better, but I still really, really enjoy this series, and I'm kind of excited to see what comes next. I don't know if there's going to be a 3rd book. I would assume that there's going to be a 3rd book, but I don't know. It could have been just a duology. Next, for Force Lightning, I picked up Blackfish City. This had to have neon colors on the cover. I don't really own any books with neon colors on the cover, and I have been trying to read down my TBR, so I really wanted a book that was from my TBR. And Blackfish City was another DNF. This one had way too many POVs for me. I didn't like the amount of characters. This is a very short book. And, you know, Malice, I can handle. That book is quite a bit longer. I understood the POVs, where the POVs were coming from. I could separate most of the characters. I do want to specify most. And then it also had like a list of characters in the beginning. I can't remember what that's called. But anyway, I just didn't like that I couldn't connect with any of them because we kept bouncing back and forth between characters and I got no time to spend with them, and I DNF'd for that reason. Next, I picked up a book for Transfer Essence. An author has written 7 or more books. I picked up Behind the Throne by KB Wagers. Now, this is one I have been so excited to get to because I know KB is going to have a super fun writing style. This was what was in my mind. Super fun writing style, plot driven, and they delivered. So I was very excited about this one. Now I'm a stickler for a writing style, and the writing in this was okay. I do think when I get into further books by KB that I will enjoy them quite a bit more because it was a writing style problem. It was a debut problem, I think. I hope, because I really want to read more. But I did like the plot of this. I did like the characters, and I ended up giving this a 3.5. It's not the 5-star that I hoped it would be, but I do think KB has a 5-star waiting for me somewhere. And this one is about a girl who is not supposed to be the heir. She definitely is not prepared to take on that role. She has become like a scavenger in this world, and then her family dies, and she is forced to go back to resume her role as heir to the throne, and a lot of things go wrong along the way. This also had a blurb on the back that said a reference to Star Wars, which made me really excited and seemed to suit May the Force Read With You. So I was excited to put it on the TBR for that reason. And then to earn the first order, I read So Thirsty by Rachel Harrison. Again, I have it. It's on my horror shelves. I loved it. I really like Rachel Harrison's writing style. It's kind of cheeky, kind of fun, very fast-paced, very plot-driven, and her books are very short. But in this one, we have a woman who is kind of not having the best life. And her husband schedules her a vacation with her best friend so he can get her out of the house for nefarious purposes, we do find out. But when they go, her best friend is like, we need to do something for ourselves. We need to get out and have some fun. And they end up going to a party that our main character is dragged to. She doesn't really want to go. And this is where they encounter vampires, and the story goes from there. I really enjoyed this. Again, it was a 4-star. I have had an average 4-star rating for the year. And as you can see, the books that I am reaching for, the books that I am excited about, have been a 4 or 5-star this year. So that's keeping my average rating pretty dang high, but I'm also going for buzzwords. Vampires is a huge buzzword for me. I've always been obsessed with vampires. And so this was very fitting to add to the TBR. And next I went for my data pad, which had to have a number in the description. And I read Bat Eater by Kylie Lee Baker. Now, here is the thing. I thought I was going to love this book, and I knew that it contained COVID content. However, our main character is very whiny, and that is not something that I can get past. Now, I did finish this book, but I ended up giving it 2 stars. I cannot stand whiny characters, and the fact that our main character, she is going through some stuff. She definitely has had a lot of trauma. There was a lot of repetition due to that fact. There was a lot of whining due to that fact, and it just didn't hit for me. I do like Kylie Lee Baker's writing. I would highly recommend this to others because it's a personal preference of mine, the characters being whiny that I can't stand. So don't take my word for it on Bat Eater. I know a lot of people are giving it 5 stars, especially if you can handle the COVID stuff. I think you will really enjoy this. And I know whiny characters is a thing that is very specific to me that I don't like. And I like I said, I think other people could really enjoy this. It just was not for me. Last, but certainly not least, I had Get My Lightsaber. I went through this whole readathon with no weapon. And lightsaber was going to be 3 points for me. I needed to get some points so that I could rise in the ranks of the Sith. And I chose to read Lake's Edge. Now, this was a self-destructing book, and I ended up really liking it. Now, this is like a 3.5. It's YA. It's gothic. There are some cool magical elements to this story. The romance was fine, but I really liked Lyndall Clipstone's writing. So I'm very excited to see what comes next for them. And I actually have already been trying to get an arc of Lyndall's next book. I do think this had some debut issues. And so I'm very excited to see what comes next. I want to see if the writing has been elevated. And I really liked the atmosphere of this. It's gothic. Her next book is going to be gothic. And so I'm very excited to see what she does with another gothic story. Like, I love gothic stories. They're some of my favorite. And I'm very, very excited for that. So if you guys have been keeping count, well, I don't know that I gave points, but that put me at 10 points, which just gave me the Sith Lord rank. And I love participating in this readathon every year. It is very fun. I love the prompts. The prompts are always so fun to fulfill simply because As a Star Wars fan myself, it seems to be something that gets me very excited about reading. It's something that I look forward to obtaining the things along the way. And it's just fun. Also, the Discord's also really nice. The people that participate are really nice. And it's not super active on the Discord, but it's also a fun place to be, a nice place to be. But that's it for me today. Like, subscribe, do all the fun things. All of my links are in a Linktree link down below if you want to connect with me in any other way. Bye.